Welcome to this module on how to deal with panic. And panic is often this highly uncomfortable event that pops up, highly unexpected, and that can basically hinder your studies quite strongly. And basically there are 4 responses you can have during stress, during panic. You might be fighting against it, or you might attacking the danger. You might be flighting, going away from the danger, or the perceived danger at least. Some people freeze, and some people will go to a fawn state. And fawn is basically trying to please the danger. It's kind of a pleasing attitude towards danger. Trying to be friendly, pleasing personalities. Often that's a fawn stress response or fawn trauma response. So these are the typical stress responses. When you get in that state, often it's highly uncomfortable and you're not productive anymore, so you're not functional anymore, and therefore I like to cover some practical tools for you and show you some practical tools how to deal with this discomfort. So I will be covering 5 methods, 5 easy to learn methods, and it needs some preparation just to get used to it before the panic pops up. So I would not wait until the very end. So go to this module and pick the method you like best and play with it and try to get used to it. So let's start. The first method is about pressing the pause button. And what does it mean? And if we have, let's say, a situation where there is something happening, a stimulus or a trigger, we respond to that. And it's also a way for surviving, right? So if something danger comes to us, we can respond to it quite fast. The problem is on our present life, I mean, there is not so many dangers there anymore. So there's a lot we know ahead. So therefore, there's a trick where you can delay the response by pausing it, by mentally taking a break, such that you can go for another response. And that is quite relevant here. So instead of having a trigger and response where you behave fully panic, you pause it and you really start deciding how you would like to respond better. So there are some elements to pay attention for. Let's go to this list. So pressing the pause button. So basically, as you just explained, between the trigger and your response, there's some space. And we have power to choose how to respond. That's all power we have. But we do not have that much time. It's about 5 to 6 seconds. If you wait too long, for example, then the hormones will be released in your body, in your bloodstream, cortisol, adrenaline, and things like that. And that will flush your whole system and maintain that stress situation pretty high. And the only way to get rid of it is to go for a walk, maybe go for a run to get rid of these hormones, or to flush it out of your system. So the best way is actually to pause it, to pause the response. And that's needs to be done within 5 seconds. One way is for deep breathing. So you start focus on deeping breath instead of shallow breaths. You go for full lung capacity breaths, and you ask yourself a question like, how is this serving me, this response? How is this not serving me? What would be productive and positive response to this trigger? And make a choice. And that is a very powerful way to shortcut this panic trigger that can happen. So this is the first method. The second method, it's called box breathing. It comes from the Navy SEALs Special Forces from the US. And they discovered that by controlling or breathing in a certain way, they could get focused, centered, and be fully present under highly stressed situations. So the name says itself, it's about the box breathing, 4 equal sides. And the idea is that the time need to breathe in should be the same time of holding it, as well as the same time of breathing out and holding it again. And actually they recommend 4 seconds for each side. So, and I would advise you to try it right now. It's like 4 seconds in, 1, 2, 3, 4, holding it for 4 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4, holding, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. For some it might be 5 seconds or 6 seconds, a bit longer. So you find your own ideal time needed. But when you go to this cycle, and I advise you to do this for, let's say, at least 5 times, you will find out that very quickly you start focusing on your breathing and you become more present. And you do not go for panic, you start focusing on your body. And that's about being grounded. And that is a really, really powerful way. Special Forces have been using that to stay calm and focused and centered under stress, under high stress. This is a powerful method to apply straight away. So, some elements though, do this box breathing at least 5 times or until calm returns. I would recommend to practice it during calm state just to get used to this method. Some might prefer 3-second count because they might be more stressed and they do 3, 3, 3, 3. Some go for 5 seconds or 6 seconds. For me personally, I like 5 seconds better because it fits more in my rhythm. For you, it might be 6 seconds. Practice it until it becomes a natural pause, so you get used to that. So practice it on whenever you have a calm moment, before the class, things like that. So, small element though, there's belly breathing versus chest breathing. If you don't know the difference, just put your one hand on the chest, one hand on your belly, and breathe in. And normally when you breathe in, your belly should expand first, and then the chest should also expand as a second and follow. When you breathe out, the belly would go inwards, followed by the chest. So belly out, chest will follow and expand. And then when you breathe out, your belly would go in and the chest will follow. The reason why I'm saying that, some of you might do chest breathing. And chest breathing is just the chest that expands and retracts. And the chest breathing is not using the full capacity of your lungs. So if you do box breathing, make sure that you get used to the belly breathing. Making that switch is very easy, by the way. Is just put your hands on the chest and belly and start focusing on it. But it's really important to pay attention to this. So, third method, ask yourself a question. And that's a very easy way to do. And basically ask a question when something happens, okay, immediately ask yourself, how can I solve this? What would be a productive and positive response instead? What or when would be a good time to look at this? Where could this fit better? So you ask basic productive questions, rational questions, where your mind says, hey, wait a minute, how can I deal with this in the best way? I would avoid why questions. Why questions tend to stay yourself in this panic, because why is this happening to me? It doesn't help you. Why is this person behaving like that? It doesn't help you at all. Why this, why that? These are questions that often have no answer, while actually how can I solve this will give you a solution. And that is what you need for, and that's what you need to aim for. So please look for productive questions and such that you can snap out of this panic mode. So it's a way to staying in the bigger parts of the brain and not going to the primitive part of the brain, which can give this hormonal stress response. But it's about staying in the bigger parts of the brain. So, like I said, it's a way to trigger hack the trigger response loop. It's also about accepting the situation. Something happens, you don't like it, it gives you stress, it's a trigger. You accept the situation. You might not agree with it or like it. That's not the point. But by accepting it, you can also look at different productive ways to deal with and productive outcomes. So look at an outcome you would prefer that is in your interests. Thing is for you to consider is, what are your power questions? Write them down. What is the question, the top 3 questions you would ask? And write them down and put them on a post-it note somewhere that you can also say, hey, when this happens, what are my 3 questions to ask? And that can help you to be in control of yourself and also in control of the situation. So another way is to say, how would your favorite celebrity deal with it? How would your best friend deal with it? How would your father or mother deal with this? So this is another way to say, how would a good friend of mine deal with that situation? And you start thinking it from another perspective, and therefore you stay out of these stress responses. Again, ask yourself a question, a very powerful way forward. The third one is about ice, and Ice Baby from the song. Ice is a powerful an anxiety hack, actually. So how to use it? Basically is to have ice cubes and put it in a towel and place it in your neck long enough. It's about shortcutting, let's say, that reaction response. It's uncomfortable, it's wet, and it will be feeling really cold. But that's the point of it. So also rubbing ice cubes on your face, putting ice cubes in your mouth, holding ice cubes in your hands, and it really will cool down your hands quite a lot. But also put your hands or face in ice water. So it's about shortcutting your thinking by focusing fully on that ice. And that is really, really powerful to do that. It's about holding it a bit longer. It's not about freezing yourself. Right? That's not the point. But it's about getting grounded more and reshift your focus. And it's a great anxiety hack. Highly recommended and easy to do. Fourth method. Go to your calm space. And what do I mean by that? Your calm spot. It can be a mountain, you name it, or a space you really like. But this is about a space that makes you feel safe. And you can imagine it. It might be a real space or real location, but it's a space that you really, really like, and that helps you to feel super calm and fully present. So that's your space, and can look whatever you want to make it look like. But it's about mentally visiting this space and to get used to it, to this calmness, and calm yourself down. And you feel your heartbeat slowing down, and you feel being relaxed and fully focused on what's happening. Use of a picture that can help you to get there faster. But the point is when there is anxiety, before the anxiety pops up, is to visit that space, calm down, get centered. And it's like a way to recharge yourself, become yourself. It's like a mental mini break. And even during a stressful moment in the day, when you're waiting somewhere, you can say, hey, well, let's go to my calm space. How does it look like? And come back. And it's a really nice way to have a mini break during the day, when they're stressed or not stressed. Okay. Well, like I said, for some it will be a mountain. That gives them relaxation. For others, it might be a lake they know. It can be an imagined lake. But it gives them the sense of safety and calmness and being present fully in nature. This is a good way to do it. For others, it might be the sea. It might be a lake, it might be the sea, it might be nature. And some others might even put their animal in there just to give them an extra support in that exercise, right? So again, 5 options. Pressing pause button, box breathing, asking yourself a question, use of ice, and go to your calm space and place. So there's some little preparation I would suggest to do. First of all, make some ice. Make sure you have some ice ready. If you don't have ice, you can use soda cans or something that you can put in the fridge so that it can cool down, that you can use later when it's needed. Practice box breathing. Let's say in the shower every morning, do some box breathing. At the start of every class, these are tricks to practice it. Visualize your calm spot. Have fun with it. Find that matching picture. On the power questions, make sure you have some power questions written down. And delay that response when triggered. Even during small things during the day, if somebody's asked you something, okay, wait a minute, take a pause. How would you respond? These are ways to practice during calm moments when everything is in order. And when something pops up that is a bit stressful, you have tools ready to deal with it. So pick the tool you like, do 1 or 2 tools you like, and play with it and feel comfortable in using it, such that you can ready, such when the stress response pops up, that you can deal with it in a proper way. So these are the 5 tools. Feel free to pick the one you like and play with it.